Once upon a time, in a sunny autumn day with laughter echoing from the children and smiles on the faces of adults, our protagonist Mina, hands held high, stood after her last adventure and looked around. She wondered what else would come her way. At the same time, in a hurry to reach the tea party at her best friend Squirrel Mincap's house, she took brisk steps towards the mighty oak tree. As Mina continued walking down by the river under her cabin, she started counting the Japanese apple trees. The branches of the first tree were filled with round, red Japanese apples. She picked a few of them. Having collected a few more tiny Japanese apples from the second tree, Mina placed them in her basket. When she reached the third tree and reached out to pick apples, guess what she saw? Hanging from the branch of the tree was an old brown leather-bound book, tied with a thin blue ribbon. Whose could this be? Mina wondered as she picked up the book and placed it in her picnic basket. Just as she was about to take a few more apples from that tree and continue her journey, she suddenly heard a loud caw and startled. She looked in the direction of the sound. At the top branch of the tree, a crow with black, bead-like eyes was staring at her. The crow said, "Caw. Who are you? Why are you picking the apples from my tree?" Mina replied, "I'm Mina, and I'm taking these apples to my friend's tea party so that my friend, who is also a good chef, can make jam out of them." "And who are you?" The crow said, "Caw. I'm Cromro. Can I come with you? I just moved to this forest." "All right, come along," said Mina. And so, they continued on their way. While Mina walked, turning right from the tree, Cromro joyfully flew above her, doing somersaults in the air. The two companions continued along the trail until they reached the sprawling weeping willow tree. Passing under the tree's trunk, they reached the giant oak tree, which was now Squirrel Mincap's new home. They had arrived, but a big surprise awaited them. On the top of the tall tree, not so small, an airplane had landed on the thick branches of the tree, seemingly like a bird, just staying there. Surprised by what they saw, our heroes examined the situation. Looking through the window of the plane, they saw Squirrel Mincap. "Mina, you can never guess what happened while I was waiting for you," she called. "Did an airplane fall onto your new house?" Mina asked, "Yes, how did you know?" Squirrel Mincap's words trailed off, and she completed them with laughter, saying, "Of course, now you see the plane too. Come on, all of you, come here, the plane has a fantastic view," she said. Just as she said this, Cromro, who had flown inside doing somersaults, looked at her in amazement. "Don't worry, he's with us, our new neighbor, whom we just met and recently moved to the forest. His name is Cromro," Mina explained. Smiling, Squirrel Mincap introduced herself and her guest, saying, "I am Squirrel Mincap, and this is our guest, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry." "Please call me Antoine," he said, looking at the other guests at the tea party. "You must be Mina, Squirrel Mincap told me beautiful things about you. And this is my friend, Red Fox," he said. A small, red fox with a fluffy tail that swayed from side to side in the wind, lying in front of the fan, looked as soft as cotton. Turning towards the sound from where it lay, it greeted them with its bright blue eyes, saying, "Welcome. Please forgive him for not getting up to welcome you, that's his way," Antoine said. His favorite thing to do in the plane is to stick his head out of the window and smile against the wind. He already misses it, so he adopted Squirrel Mincap's fan, he said with a smile. Mina, in the meantime, had opened the picnic basket and arranged everything in the middle of the plane. Squirrel Mincap, not wanting to miss this opportunity, quickly grabbed a cinnamon cookie and called out to the others, "Now that everyone is here, let our tea party begin. However, I don't have any tea left, so I prepared lemonade for you, and Mina has brought milk. Let's form a circle and start our conversation," he said. Upon hearing about the milk, Red Fox perked up its ears and moved so quickly that it had already started drinking its milk before the others could take their places. When it lifted its head and looked at the others, its milk mustache and beard made it look very funny. "But I feel quite puzzled, because I am inside a plane standing on a tree. I'm sure my friends are also very curious," Mina asked as she took a sip of her lemonade. "Pardon me, Antoine, can I ask you a question?" With a nod from Antoine, she continued, "Can you tell me what you're doing here and what happened to you? I'm sure my friends are very curious too." While looking thoughtful, Antoine took another sip and replied, "You're right, Mina. Actually, I'm quite bewildered too, but on the other hand, I'm very happy to have met you. I've been through a great danger, but now I'm hopeful that I can get out of it. I am a pilot, or to be more accurate, a mail carrier pilot. Do you see the bags at the back of the plane? Those are filled with letters, congratulatory messages, and birthday gifts. I am responsible for delivering them to their addresses. I am very happy to deliver the letters and gifts people send to their loved ones. But I had an accident, and my plane got stuck in this tree." "Alright," said Kuzgun Muzgun, the crow, "how did your plane get stuck in this tree? Weren't you flying at a high altitude?" "I've never gotten stuck in a tree while flying high." "Actually, you're right," replied Antoine. "I had never gotten stuck in a tree before, but once I had to make an emergency landing in a desert in Tunisia. That is, my plane was almost crashing, but when I saw the malfunction indicator, I managed to land safely. This time, there was a malfunction in my plane. It's a very old plane, and I haven't been able to take good care of its engine for a while. I'll take better care of my plane from now on. I really don't want such an accident to happen again." Then he continued, "When I landed in the desert, I got lost. I had to survive alone in the desert for 4 days, but then the Bedouins found and rescued me. This time, I'm very lucky because as soon as I landed, I met all of you. I'm having my fill at a tea party, or rather a lemonade and milk party, with delicious cookies. I was very hungry." Antoine dipped his cinnamon cookie into his lemonade, took another bite, and with a warm and sincere smile, said, "Thanks a lot, Mina, everything tastes so good." At this moment, Squirrel Mincap, who was turning an acorn in his hand, chimed in, "Alright, how can we help you? We don't have any repair tools, and it's not really possible to walk away from here with those huge bags. We also don't want the children to go without their gifts." Antoine pointed to a rolled-up carpet next to the bags at the back. "The Bedouins gave me a flying carpet as a gift. It was so big and magical that they said, 'You can even carry your plane if you want. But to fly this carpet, you need to remember the magical incantations, which are in a different language. It takes a lot of effort to remember those words. I had written them in my notebook not to forget, but now I can't find my notebook," he said sadly. Hearing this, Mina immediately took out the notebook she found in the tree from her basket and excitedly asked, "Could this be your notebook?" Reunited with his notebook, Antoine said, "You're amazing, Mina. Thank you so much for finding and bringing me my notebook." Then, turning to the small group that saved him, filled his stomach, and provided enjoyable moments, he said, "Thank you so much. I've had such a delightful time, which I haven't had in a long time, thanks to all of you. Meeting you has made me very happy, but now, with your permission, I must hit the road. I want to deliver the letters and gifts to their owners as soon as possible. Still, I promise, I'll visit you at the first opportunity." After Antoine and Kizil Tilki waved goodbye, Antoine opened his notebook and began reciting the magical incantations aloud. Soon after, the plane, as light as a bird feather, circled rapidly around the tree and then flew off into the distance, disappearing from sight.